27th. And I'm here with the full crew. Chris is finally back from the Bermuda Triangle.
I am back. Will found me last week. We made it back alive. We got a 3-movie deal with New Line Cinema and
Jack Black,
A24, and
Jack Black.
Yeah.
Did you remember your wallet this time?
I got it this time. That was good.
I heard that William's gonna be played by Eddie Murphy.
Dream.
And
be played by Medea.
Terry.
And coming in dropping bombs.
That's
He's our
right.
special guest for today.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I get attacked on the first.
I ain't seen y'all in forever, y'all. Come on.
That's true. That is true.
Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Jon Oliver, a.k.a. Uncle Oliver, a.k.a. Big Daddy Swag Cakes.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
This is about to be a lot of fun, y'all.
This podcast is rated.
That on my question list here.
Going to have to hit that explicit on the.
I think that's question one: is how did I get that nickname?
That's what I want to know.
That's the premium content.
That's going to go. Well, we get
Patreon. Patreon.
Yeah, once we get Patreon, we'll put that on there.
Oh
This is
my
my
God!
pre-show notes. I don't know.
If you want more,
I'm like Romberg and the other three was on the script.
There you go.
So, Mr. Oliver, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Marching season for us is officially over.
Yeah, everybody's done but me. Well, no, I guess probably when this is aired, I'll be done. But,
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
Finally done.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say one thing. How people go into November, I don't know. I don't see. I'm almost like, man, at the beginning of the season, I'm like, I could do it, and then I get to like, I'm like,
October
nope.
1st.
Yeah, I'm done packing it in. Let's
they
go.
start later for one.
yeah, a lot of places start later, so it could.
That's
be
true. Yeah,
just a
Will,
complete
you guys are
start.
still in preseason.
Yeah, we're
aren't
still
you?
going.
Like,
We just
Some of
finished
these
band
schools
camp.
probably have their own indoor
Our-
practice facility.
Our exhibition is the last Saturday of August. So last year we went the last Saturday of August all the way to the first Saturday of November. It was the longest marching season ever.
Yeah, it can get pretty long. But like I said, I'm not like the California groups out west. They've really just started.
Yeah.
A lot of groups are doing their EPAs and state championships last weekend and this weekend. I think Texas has had theirs.
Yeah, they just had
Yeah.
some. I just saw something about it.
and we're just talking about that.
Yeah, we were
Got on. Yeah.
off camera on the Patreon stuff. So no. But yeah, so it's wrapping up. It's getting there. I think California, West Coast will be the last ones to wrap it up, but it stays 60, 70 degrees out there way longer than it does everywhere else. So
Like, I wish I lived in San Diego. Like, it's always 70.
No,
No,
you don't.
hardly any rain.
San Diego.
San Diego.
So I don't know. We're kind of I hate to say we're flying off the cuff, but like this is just basically 5 dudes talking. So
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen? But
We've known each other for too long.
we have. And we can get into that a little bit later. But let's just get some general good information about you, Oliver. So Oliver, just kind of tell us about you and like your dealings with martial arts and how all that stuff got started and all that good stuff.
So I am the old man of the group here, and I mean old. I graduated in 92, and I marched corps in 92. So my knees are still telling me that 30 years later.
I was born in 93.
Oh, shut up! But I did. I graduated high school in 92 in this little bitty town in Tennessee called Westmoreland. It's about 1,700 people. My high school band had 40 kids. And I had a director I had two directors, one that hated drum corps and one that absolutely didn't understand it, but pushed me to do whatever I wanted to do. So I got very lucky, and I auditioned for the Cabbies my senior year of high school and made it on first cut and found out that they put me on lead baritone. 18 years old, no idea what's going on. I just saw that live, and I saw that online, and I was like, this is great. I'm going to go do this. And I got to Rosemont and went, what have I done? And that first camp was rough because I'm for this little bitty band. I'm the only baritone player. I'm looking around going, okay, these guys are older and better than me, and I'm an all-state player, and I'm like, forget this. And I got told on the first camp, said, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to be fine. And then the next camp, I nearly got cut because I couldn't do the visual. Because, I couldn't do the cabbie's bicycle step, and I couldn't do it. And it just was ingrained in my head not to do it that way. And I struggled for a few months, but they kept me in, and it was, best time of my life. And then I got to college, and they hated everything I did.
Ain't that how it goes?
That's exactly. Well, my professor at Tennessee Tech, he taught there 55 years. So I walked in right after season. Like I got done on Saturday night, and I came back on Monday and started band camp. And my first reaction was, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm used to this. And when Winston Morris, my professor, looked at me with a straight face and said, you better get rid of everything you learned. Like, I'm a much better player now. Why should I do that? And he just kind of laughed and said, I hate everything about drum corps.
That's crazy.
He did. He hated it. But ever since then, I am arranging, composing music for different things, and I've been writing drills since 1997. So I have seen the activity go in many, many directions in multiple places, and some for the best, some for not the best. And this is why I love what you guys do, because I lurk in the shadows a lot. I don't like talking about myself, so what you guys are pulling me into tonight really is going to push me, which I love. But I've seen a lot of stuff change. And again, some of it's great, and some of it you just kind of look at and go, not sure about that. So yeah, I stay busy. I run. I've got a band that I love down here, and I'm just enjoying life right now.
Yeah, your band this year had a pretty good season.
Dude, we grand champion twice. We won our class twice. And we went to East Tennessee this past weekend and took on some of the best bands in East Tennessee and finished 6th in the contest.
Okay.
That's what's up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Doing an Alice in Wonderland show.
Hey, sometimes, man.
Oh, no. I turned Alice bad.
Even better.
I made her the bad guy in the storyline.
Even better.
So, y'all know me. I ain't going to do anything normal.
Yeah,
true.
Right?
That would be a very Oliver thing to do.
Yes.
That's the story.
Yes.
But I like the fact, that you kind of talked about how your college professor kind of said you better forget all of that, all of that stuff that you learned. Because that happens to kids a lot. Is they'll go to core and they condition them. I don't condition a good word for that. It's better than program.
They structure them.
They structure them to be what that core specifically needs it to be.
Mold them.
Mold is a good word too. And so they can look like they want them to look, sound how like you want them to sound, and stuff like that. And then these kids get put back. I mean, you graduated, but some of these kids get put back in their high school band, and it is like culture shock to what they were used to.
We
I think it's good.
We actually had that happen when I taught up in Kentucky. We had a student went off and won a D3 championship with the Memphis Sound as a junior. and came back as a senior and almost didn't get back into it because everything was so different the way we did it. And he struggled. Same as me. He struggled for a few weeks until he remembered, oh, this is the high school mentality of it. And we got him in.
I always tell any kid that I'm teaching, like, I want to put it how your professor said it. Everybody's got their opinion about drum corps and all that, but on the overall aspect of it, I always tell kids, I was like, man, it don't matter where you go. I was like, if you're here with us here, you learn our technique. When you go there, learn there. So I tell them, I said, never think there's only one way to do anything. You gotta adapt. Okay, just because I teach you this way doesn't mean that they will. So I tell these kids, I was like, don't freak out when you go to these places and you get all mad and pissy, because a lot of kids do that. They just don't want to bend. Oh, I was taught this way and this. I don't care how you was taught. When you come here, you have to have that open mindset. You have to be able to say, okay, that was just one way of doing it. And I always tell people, there's no real wrong way to do anything. There's just better ways to do things. Because you can teach somebody how to do something and it can be just off, like just bad. But if they're doing it, they're doing it. But then somebody else can come along and teach them a better way of doing it, and it will be more controlled or whatever. But I always say that, man. I was like, man, always have an open mind. Don't ever think that there's just one way to do it, and then you can get out of that funk. So when you go from school to group to group to group, you can transform easy, and it won't be such a culture shock to you.
I can tell you right now, and I don't think any of you guys know this, but my backup plan was to go to the cadets. And I saw them march right foot lead, and I went, nope. It literally, I was not about to fight that fight. And so, I'm glad I got my call back, and I'm glad I got everything for the Cavies. But yeah, cadets was my second choice, and I just about did it. Then I saw the steps, and I went, nope, can't do it.
One's on right. That's impossible.
It's like, no. Well, again, I'm old enough that when I did my year, we were just starting the 3-valve G bugles. So we had just changed over from 2-valve to 3-valve. And I mean, we had old guys who had been in the Corps 3-4 years who struggled with those new horns because suddenly they had to use the 3rd valve again. Dude, those G bugles were great, but they were hunks of metal.
Bruh. Just straight.
Well, I mean, I marched Barry. I couldn't imagine marching youth.
Youth? I cried every day. Every day.
I can believe it.
This is ridiculous. And they had the audacity to go to B flats right after I aged out. I said, you mother. Okay. I see y'all. But different times, man. Different times.
Oh, yes. That's a whole story in itself. How those tours went versus, 10 years later.
Yeah,
for real.
So you mentioned that you do arrangements and composing. Is this weird? Because I know this stuff about you. But anyway, you started writing drill in '97, which is like 5 years after you graduated high school. So how did you get interested in doing that? And then how did you get started?
I've always been creative anyways. So, you hear the story of drill riders who take spaghetti noodles and just throw it in the air, wherever it lands, that's the picture. Or they take Skittles or M&Ms and they put them, they do stuff. I was that guy, and I always was fascinated with drill. The visual aspect of a show for me just really fascinated me, how you did all that. And again, I'm talking late 80s, early 90s. I mean, making pictures was still the real big thing. And how do you move that picture from one place to the other? I just thought that was great. So I graduated. I started just doodling on paper and trying to find ways to make it work. And my last year of college, I had a director send me a message that said, hey, we want you to write some stuff for us. And I went, okay, what kind of music do you want? And I'm in college, so I'm just like, what style of music? He said, no, I want to watch you write drill. Okay. And, I mean, my very first show was handwritten. We had Advantage showware, which you had to put the big dongle in the back of the computer to make it run. And so my first show was all handwritten, and it was terrible. It was so bad. And I had to go back and rewrite the whole thing because I was watching kids hit each other and go through each other. And of course, core mentality, pass-throughs for me were wonderful. Well, pass-throughs work great when you don't have trombones.
Yep.
Or flute players that can't march, because we all know that.
Oof.
Hey, dude, I'll fire the shots. I don't care.
Let's go. I'm here for that.
So my 97 was my first drill, handwritten, and 1998 I went back to my former school, and the band director hired me to write the whole show. So I arranged Bugs Bunny cartoon music for the show, all classical cartoons, and they won. They were second in Division I state in Tennessee that year.
Wow.
And I've been writing ever since.
It's funny that this conversation went that way because I wrote my first set of drill this summer for our season, and you can tell that I learned how to use Pieware better throughout the show.
Yep.
Because our opener is very much.
I can concur every single part of that as well.
Now, it was very much yard lines, midpoints, 4-step intervals, 2-step intervals, very
do-si-dos.
Yes, but it worked kind of.
did.
I guess. I mean, it went with the music, but I had to really learn how to figure out how to make a curve.
Well, and I was going to ask you, since this was your first show to write, so how did you feel about the learning curve of Pieware?
Well, I downloaded and got the license and stuff sent to me over the summer, and I kind of played around with it just to see. Like, I went to some YouTube videos and watched some, like, somebody walk through and kind of explain what each button did, and I made notes and things like that. And then I just kind of played around with it because we didn't really have our numbers yet. We didn't really know what our number. We had a ballpark figure, but we didn't know exactly what we were going to have. So I couldn't go ahead and start writing. But so I just kind of played and messed with it, and I figured out how to get the audio for our show in there. So then I started messing around with our audio, with our track of our music, and kind of got some ideas. So yeah, the program itself was the learning curve part. Also, like, for me, when I hear a show, like if I'm just listening, like if we're trying to find a new show for the next season, when I'm listening, I can picture what I want the big moments, or what I feel like the big moments should look like. So for me, the part was, oh, what am I going to do in between those to get me from this big picture to the next one? Like, our show this year was called Off the Rails, and it was about a train. And I knew in the first hit of the opener, I wanted an X for a railroad crossing. Like, that's immediately what I had in my head. So that's what I went for. And so I knew those big picture kind of figures and shapes, but it was a lot of the in-between, how am I going to get them there? And I did a pretty good job, I feel like, and Chris, you can answer yes or no. I did a decent job, especially when it came to staging, making sure the right groups were in the right spots. Now, are there things I could have done better? Yes. Like, a lot of times I had them too far upfield and kind of up in the front ensemble a little bit. So I know next time to push them back some. But, I mean, I think for it being my first time, there weren't any comments from judges or anybody that said nothing was working. My areas for growth is next season is going to be guard integration. I think that's a big one.
And that took me forever.
It's not the first place I think.
Well, and I'm married to a guard instructor, so heaven forbid that's the first person I'm going to think of. But but I learned. It took a long time for me to learn what to do with the guard, and especially because most of my shows I'm writing for bands that are small. You know, I really excel 50 players and down or 50 members and down because that's what I grew up in and that's what I'm used to. And I mean, I'll write for larger groups, but how do you make 4 guard members in a band of 50 look bigger than 4 guard members? And where do you stage them and how do you get them to be effective, not just with how the music is going, but portraying the visual idea that you're trying to get? I mean, this year we had 33 wins in percussion, but we had 12 guard. And I mean, staging Nightmare 101 for me. We got it to work, but it took a long, long time.
Yeah.
I would say that's one thing I think about, like the activity. I feel like that's been a big push, you know, for years is, you know, you look at old school kind of mentality. It's, you have the band here and you have the guard here.
Yep.
And that's really changed. And now it's kind of focused where you think about general effects. Like the guard's not in there with the group and interacting with the group, you're going to get docked for that. And I think that's a lot of hard for a lot of drill writers is just seeing, you see that a lot is that it's almost like you just don't know where to go because you're so focused on the members that you have there. And then it's like, oh crap, I forgot to put them in the set. And so it's that almost like sometimes you got to have like a guard first mentality of like where you're going to place them as you go through.
Oh yeah, there were a few times when I would look up and I'd have like 5 or 6 sets for the wins done. And I was like, oh, this looks good. And then I'm like, crap, I've got 12 guard behind the prop and they've been there for 8 sets. Like, I should go back and fix this.
Well, and Cedric can tell you, because, I mean, he's lived, and Chris has lived through drill that I've done. Any drill that you guys ever see of mine, it's not the first version. It's version 3, 4, 5, whatever, and it's the same problem. I will write really cool stuff, and then I'll go back and look at it and go, well, what did you do with the percussion? What did you do with the guard? Why is the trumpet soloist here not mic'd and they can't be heard? You know, and it's a process, you know, and as many as I do in a season now, it's, you know, it gets harder and harder to do.
So that's a question I do have for you because how many groups did you write for this year?
Including me, I did 10.
Okay, so I know you usually write in double digits as far as groups go. So how do you, as a writer, keep it fresh enough and diverse enough? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie
Bring It On.
Bring It On, when they have the jazz hands every time. Like, it's the same routine every single time. Yeah. So, like, I always think about that every time I think about, like, the same stuff for some reason.
Spirit fingers.
So how do you, like, diversify? And because I know some things that, you know, some drill writers, they lean on harder on than, like, they really like that kind of stuff more than other things. So how do you kind of keep it fresh? When you do that kind of stuff?
A lot of it is I will really talk to the directors first and try to get a feel of the groups that I'm writing for. I had 3 new people this year. I had 3 new groups. And it was a lot of me going, what can your kids do? What kind of things have you done in the past? And did you like it? So, you know, one group I had, this was the first time they brought a marching band back in probably 10, 15 years. So it was a blank slate. And the director said, I want to look good and I want to sound good. Can you just make it happen? But a lot of it, you know, I always joke about I do steal from myself. I just do. And I have certain sets that I always kind of go back to because I know they can anchor other places to go. But my big goal is if all 4 of you ask me to write your show, if you all go to the same contest, you will not recognize things in your show from other people's show. And it's very difficult. I mean, you know, with East this year, the whole spin idea, it lends itself to certain things, but I wanted to try to portray spin visually in a way that wasn't just rotation. And it took a while. It really did. Our show down here this year, I had a lot of solo players. I had a lot of really good, talented solo kids. So my staging was here's the stage area, here's the kid I want. What am I going to do around them? And since it was all about down the rabbit hole and it was all these different things, I had my visual ideas, and all I had to do was just plan it. But my big goal this year was not for somebody to find another show that I wrote and recognize their show. And it takes forever. I mean, I spent probably 3 to 4 months on drill this year. But that's also why when you get it, that's why I'm so picky about numbers too. Once I get it and I get numbers set, then I write. I absolutely hate when you tell me I have 10 of this. It's like, okay, I'm writing for 10. There you go. Well, we lost 2.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
Well, but instead of me going, okay, I'm just gonna chop the last 2 off, I'll end up rewriting because the flow doesn't work for me anymore. Mm-hmm. So I do it all the time.
It can suck.
I was going to say the last Franklin Simpson show I did. I think I wrote that opener probably 7 times.
Listen, that year, let me tell you something about that year. Because that was one that, like, going in band camp, we felt so solid about our numbers. And then, like, the 3rd day or the 4th day of the 2nd week, yeah, I'm done. What are you talking about? Were you done? 1st day of school, yeah, I'm out of it. We're just like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
I think that like goes to like the whole COVID thing.
Done.
Right.
Yeah. I was say the hard part's done. Why are we stopping now? That's
done.
COVID hit our group pretty hard when it came to like the whole attitude of like, what
putting work into something.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
I'll
So
say
we lost a lot of kids. We lost a lot of kids that way. So that's tough. I know, like for Joe, I always hate, and that's why I'm kind of glad I work with Zach this time, because when like with the group you're with, it's easy to fix those things because that drill writer is there for you. If they're not, either you're gonna have to try to fix it on your own, or you have to call the drill writer. And it's like one of those like, it's like when you you do something bad and you got to call your parents. Like, listen, I'm okay, but I have to tell you what's happening. Like, I'm dreading that phone call because it's something that it's hard. Cause like you said, you work for 10 groups and you're churning stuff out. And then, you want to put out a good product, yet you're going to do it justice.
That was kind of the beauty of me writing for us. Is like, it was during camp, during sectionals time. I would sit in the office with our director and be like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Is this good with you? Or like, I could run into the gym to guard sectionals and be like, hey, I need to know which numbers you want on the dance block at the beginning because I'm working on that right now. And like having it in-house was really nice. I feel like, but I put a lot of extra pressure on myself because not only is the director I'm working for like the director, but he was also my director when I was a student. He started me in 6th grade. So I had that like former student, I don't want to disappoint him, kind of deal. But then I also knew like when we've had drill writers that didn't do very well, how much of a pain it was on him to have to go back and rewrite, or the assistant director when he and her would work together and have to restage and rewrite all this stuff. It's like that was my goal, for us to not have to just have something that did not work and us have to go back and redo it all. Now, did he end up having to rewrite some of the guard stuff? Yes, but that was his choice.
Last year, I think, was my hardest year because I composed the whole show. So, I mean, I went full Cedric mode on this and composed the whole thing and then wrote all the visual. So, I spent 4 months going back and second guessing myself every single week, listening to judges' tapes and going, why did I write this? But then the next week, same kind of judge has a completely different concept. We went to that contest just this past weekend, and the visual effect judge didn't understand why I made Alice bad.
That's how he takes you.
Literally just the score just tanked because he didn't understand why the main character was a bad person. It's like, watch the freaking show.
And that's the beauty and the pain of this activity.
Yes, it is.
Them the kind of judges that got to go.
Yeah,
Because
like,
that's too. Because that ain't your job.
Yep.
I agree.
And then you tanked us over a feeling.
there it is.
Yeah. How you gonna tank us over a feeling? Like over your preference or maybe your misinterpretation? I don't know.
Well, it also didn't help me. It didn't help me that the music effect judge got everything, but the visual effect judge went, "What's this?"
That's like okay. Here's one of my. It's overdone. Stop doing it. Pictures at an exhibition. Okay, we've heard it. We get it.
What shows are you going to? I haven't heard that.
Stop. Well, good. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's done. Hang it up. But that would be like if I was a music judge and they play pictures at an exhibition and I just absolutely just destroy them because I don't like their music choice. Like, your job is look at your sheet and
Yep.
It's like, how did we do?
Yes. I don't care if you liked it or not.
The song we did it. How did we do while we did it?
Exactly.
Were we in tune? Did we match articulation?
Did it sound right?
Did we have dynamics? Did we play with style? Thank you. Come again.
Yeah.
And again, the only thing that made it worse was it was the final show.
Yeah.
Every place we went, this year, everybody got it. Everybody understood it. Last show, that one person.
It's always that one.
Always the one.
How
I didn't tell you use hard mallets.
Will, why are you trying to get me triggered today?
Just bringing it in,
what?
man.
We have exercised that demon.
I didn't say anything.
I hope.
I just hope the day comes around. I don't hope that. I won't say that, but I kind of just for it to keep going is that it's somehow that comment happens again, and I want to be there at that moment that Sid sees that tape and just watch him just
that
like
arena will no longer be standing.
Hadouken through the wall.
I'm not responsible for what may come out of my mouth if I ever hear that again.
Look,
Listen, I'm so surprised you didn't say anything.
Now.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything that day. Anyway,
I wanted to. It was right here.
You're like. I was like, oh no.
And I was like, nope, I go to jail. I can't yelling at a white woman. I can't. No, I can't do it.
There's enough of us to bail you out, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, I was just like, that would have ruined my entire WGI career. Like if I had did that, but I sure thought it. I sure thought it because the rest of the judges was looking like, why would somebody tell you that? I'm just sitting here
everybody
like,
was crazy face, confused face, like, huh? Oh,
over there.
They're sitting right beside you. I don't.
Anyways,
if I learned anything from that experience, it's just like, just do what you want.
Yep.
All right. So, I have a question.
Oh, now we got a question.
I said I had them. So you marched Cavaliers in '92, correct?
Yes.
That was the only season you marched, right?
Yes.
What attracted you? What brought you to the Cavaliers?
Why
them?
Seeing them live in '90 and watching again, because I'm a visual person. I mean, the music was great, but watching how they were able to move on field and to get to see that, closet Blue Devils fan because it's Blue Devils, and I have a whole history of love-hate with that organization about things.
Don't we all?
But my first, again, this is where I'm old. My first drum corps live experience was '88 and was Skyriders. That was the first show I ever saw live. I saw that, and I saw Spirit of Atlanta do Interstellar Suite, which blew my mind. And I'm at a school that's got, the bleachers aren't that big, so I'm sitting 15 rows up, and I'm getting pelted in the face. Oh, it was so much fun. And Spirit,
Powerhouses.
God, Spirit in the late 80s. Oh, it was so good. And then Cavies came out and did Gloria. And I just kind of, I was mesmerized. I just kind of stopped. So, Cavies were always kind of my go-to, kind of show and things. And then 90 hit. When 90 hit, and I just watched that, and I watch that show now, because again, it's just, that's that show that kind of pushed me that way. But again, the Cadets, early 90s, the ABC show, doing Adams, Bernstein, and Copeland, Madison Scouts coming out and just blowing your face off, that was just phenomenal. So I got the idea my junior year, I wanted to go try out. And I thought in my head, Spirit wouldn't take me. I didn't. So it was kind of weird. It's like, where do I want to go? And Chicago wasn't that far. And I thought, okay, if I can't make it in there, then my backup plan was to try to go to the Cadets. I also thought about Phantom. Because again, Phantom early 90s, it was just, musically, it was phenomenal. But I just kept going back to the Cavies over and over again. And I just finally, my senior year, it's like, I'm going. If I fail, I don't care. I'm still going. And it's, many, many years later, watching the ups and downs, watching the 2000s and being proud of everything. And then seeing some turmoil and seeing some things happen behind the scenes. And now watching it kind of work its way back up again. It's, the anniversary show last year was, if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, you didn't understand it. You didn't get the references. You didn't get all the hidden meanings. Mm-hmm. And, as an alum, it was just fun to sit back and watch and catch everything and kind of know where everything went. But yeah, in the early 90s, it wasn't going to matter where I went. I was going to have a great experience, but my heart just kept going to Rosemont. And listen, that first camp, like I said, sleeping in the Rosemont gym was like the coolest experience. And, you young whippersnappers with your air beds and crap, is like we had eggshell crates, and that's all we had.
Yeah, who had an air bed? Who? We didn't need it.
But
Will slept in an abandoned building. He was in a condemned building his marching years. So
he slept on rocks.
But it was
let us sleep in the building.
That first camp being in Rosemont was it was amazing. It really was. And just the history. Jeff Fiedler just came out on the first night and said, here's what you're a part of. Here's what you want to be. And there it is. They were, check-in first Friday night. They were showing the core videos from the 80s. They were just showing their shows from the 80s. And it reminded me why I wanted to do it so badly.
And that right there is how Jon Oliver helped the Cavaliers win their first gold medal. It's all you.
Yeah, I got my rear end beat up a lot.
You were the last puzzle piece missing to put them over the edge.
That was a big old puzzle. We got Gavortna Fanfare in December. We got the opening in December, and they said you're going to need it. And music rehearsals were fun because we were, here's all the warm-ups, and Gordon Henderson's brass, doing all the brass stuff, and Gordon just comes in, looks at everybody, and goes, everybody sucks right now. It's Friday night. You suck. Here's Saturday's music rehearsal. You suck. We're going to play this Tchaikovsky thing. You suck. We're going to play, all this. And then they go, okay, we got a surprise for you. Here's draft 1. And that first double-tongued lick is it's ingrained in my head now because we all looked at each other and went, are we doing this? And dude, that first run through of it without the drum line first was just fun. And they put us in music ensemble on Sunday afternoon and said, let's just see what we got. And I think the battery played maybe 20 measures, maybe. and the front ensemble had nothing. They had absolutely nothing, and I was hooked. I was hooked from that point on.
Tink tink from the triangle.
But my gosh, you know, and again, I'm from this little bitty school, so you know, I'm over here double tonguing and struggling, and it was like blah 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 blah. That just sounded like crap, and I couldn't help it. You know, 18 years old, I stopped playing for a minute and just listened, and it just pushed. But yeah, Gavorton and Fanfare, you know, Jack Stamp had just got it written, and it's, you know, it's only been played a handful of times, and now it's in front of us, and it's like, we're playing this on G freaking bugles. So yeah, that's awesome, that's fun. That's a lot of fun. There's a lot of bad stories in there too, but that you know, I'm gonna be nice tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the negative stuff because Iowa is a whole bad thing.
Listen.
So we talked a little bit pre-recording about some BOA stuff. What's your take on everything that's happening right now?
Where do you want me to go with that?
Well,
because I think of it in two ways.
Okay.
Might be one of the best years show quality we've ever seen. I mean, finals are going to be all up in the air. I mean, there are going to be really talented groups knocked out. Saying that, this might be one of the most boring years I have ever heard. To me. Because and I'll tell you why. And it's my personality. There are shows that I liked when my first read of, and the more that I've seen of it, the more I'm just kind of like, okay, there it is.
It ain't doing it.
It does it for about 4 minutes, and then here comes the next 4, and it's just like, why did you not give me that same level? Mm-hmm. And you know, but again, I still think the content of the year is going to be great. But also, there's some bands not going that no one has seen or really paid attention to. Guys, if y'all haven't seen Dobbins Bennett this year, their show is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And they're smaller. They backed off numbers to get...
Are they doing the Avatar show?
Yes. Dude, they and Franklin won COC basically by 5-pointing the field. And Franklin's doing Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And it's good.
They are.
It's good. It's really good. Dobbins Bennett would have been a sleeper for me for, upper semis or into finals. They're done. Their season's over. They ended it at Contest of Champions Saturday. I talked with you guys earlier that, Texas 6A, put everybody's name in a hat, pull one, and just go.
You're right. Basically. And
the sinking quality is unreal.
Well, we gushed about Hebron earlier on a few episodes, and they finished third.
Yeah, they finished third. Yeah.
That show, how? Like, that's what's crazy. That's the talent level down there, man. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And we all just sit up here going, yeah, we can do that. We can do that in 10 years.
Yeah.
We can. We just have to do it on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch semis, I'm gonna watch prelims, I'm gonna watch it all and just sit back and enjoy it. And watch the little groups. Class A is gonna be fun. Class A is gonna be a lot of fun.
Dude, Class A in Kentucky was fun.
Oh, I know. I know I'm down in Tennessee, the forbidden land, but I'm still, my roots for marching stuff is still up in Kentucky. I spent 12 years up in Ohio County, and you can't take that level of things away from me. And I try to pull those same ideas into my own shows here, and some people get it, some people don't.
Well, I think that's one reason why you're successful in Tennessee is because you're doing that, but if you're doing that type of stuff, bringing it down there, and they are used to only seeing that from like the top groups
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
down there, and so they see another group doing it, it's like, oh, okay. I just remember I've been to a Tennessee show once just to go watch, or I've been to a couple, and then like we've kind of competed down there. And it's like the Wild Wild West down here. Like,
It is.
it's like,
It is, and just depends on what show you go to, is what score sheets you have, and what judges
I
you
went
get.
my first year at Franklin. We went to a Tennessee show. I think it was your alma mater we went to.
you went to
Oliver.
Bandapalooza in Portland.
Well, I'm talking about Franklin. Like our band went there, and
Yeah, that's what I'm on. Yeah.
yeah, that's where it was. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, and it got rain. It rained, so we had to do like a standstill inside.
Yeah.
But it blew me away. I was sitting there. The grand champion of the contest was picked by the director. It wasn't scores. It was how that director felt about the show, and that was the grand champion. And the look on my face must have been like bad because like a lot of people were like, "Are you all right? Is everything all right?" I was just like, I don't understand. My brain, it's like the Matrix glitched on me, and I have no idea what just happened. I've never seen that before in my life. So this is crazy down there, man.
It all depends on where you go, and there are standardized state sheets, but not a lot of contests use them because they don't understand exactly how to use those sheets. So it just depends, and it's a lot of fundraisers. It's a lot of, hey, we want you to come up and we want you to perform and do this, and it's different. It's very, very different. And sometimes you go and it's just fun, watching, 7 bands do the same kind of rock band show, over and over again. But, that kind of part, you got to go, why did you do that? But then, you've got bands that are like us, and there's a few around our area that are trying to push the envelope to go in different directions. And it's kind of nice to stand out. And it's kind of nice for people to remember you because you did something different. 2 years ago, we did a Foo Fighters show, but we didn't use the Foo Fighters music as our visual vehicle. We went a completely different route with the visual. And I've got people who did not march, those years remind me of that show to this day. And it's, you can't put yourself in a box and just decide that box is right. And again, my age, I had to learn that the hard way. And I had to mess with some kids' seasons because, I was young and stupid, and I said, this is where we're going and this is how it's going to be. And, if I had just stopped for a moment and said, everyone else is here, why are you here? Get outside your own lane.
Evolve.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard to do. Because you got to tell yourself to evolve, and then you got to prove it.
Exactly.
I mean, this past indoor season, that was completely out of my wheelhouse. It's like I hate shows like this. I'm just going to do this because we got to have something fun to do and get the kids excited and train the kids, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yep.
Because I was willing to step outside of my shell, and the kids believed in it before I did. That's the crazy part about it. I went. It took me half a season to be like, I guess this is okay.
Well, you and I had some conversations, and you were still not. You weren't too sold on it at first.
I just because I hadn't seen it work at the WGI level. That was my thing. It's like I like it, the kids like it, the people like it, but like, will this fly all season? Like I was just waiting for the hammer to drop somewhere, and it never did. And I was like, well, here we are.
But I think
that's the hardest thing.
The thing to take from that is their abilities and their talent level. Them kids performed it. So when you do a show like that, that's out of your comfort zone and out of your was like, and you've got those ideas in your head, will this get hammered or tanked or something like that? It changes because of who's doing it and how it's being done. Because you can almost model off of a lot of the independent world groups, man. Some of them shows just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But if those type of hands weren't playing that, it really would get tanked. So I think a lot of times the talent level and they just brought it all season.
I had a very good college professor tell me the only way to set the standard is to change the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wise words.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I think that worked in our benefit, that this season it was not like anything else that they were going to see the rest of the day, even in other classes that we weren't competing against. Like, they played music and they told a story and they made it work. And I took a lot of things that I learned from indoor this year and applied it to marching band this year. And and that seemed to be working pretty well too.
So you guys had some success this year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That show's fun too. That was fun. That was just fun to work on with you guys this time.
Yeah, I had to talk you off the ledge.
I remember that conversation.
I was like, dude, just write drill.
I know, but I was so far this way, and it just took you going, dude, shut up, just write, just be you and write, and look what it's turned into.
Yeah. And you kind of alluded to that, when you talk, with your show going off the beaten path with Alice being bad. Like, I think you were in that mindset with us, and I was just like, nah, man, we literally just want stuff to spin.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I don't care how that happens.
Well, and all of you know me. I mean, I am the most overthinking person anyways. It's like, okay, I'm going to find 8 different ways to get down the street. And sometimes you just got to stop me and go, dude, shut up. Do this. Just do this.
Hit the button.
Yeah, I was like, I have not seen him or heard him this distraught before. I was like, it was weird.
Well, and a little backstory to that. I was about 5 shows deep at that point, and I was so far wrapped into other people. And it's kind of funny because, Chris, you asked me that earlier. I get songs mixed up in shows. Like,
I don't see how you don't.
But the funny thing is, and it happens every year, I will find a way to take songs from like 2 or 3 shows and mix them into a mixtape. Like, I will find a way to go, okay, all 3 of these work and they shouldn't, and then there's drill in my head. So, and there's been some years, there's been some weird mixes of music. There's been some really strange stuff. But it happens. It happens.
No, and sometimes, like you said, sometimes it just takes talking to somebody. I mean, I've called you a couple of times, or Zach or Chris or Will, and be like, here's where I'm at. I don't know. And it just takes somebody from a different perspective, from a different angle to be like, well, have you thought about it for this? Like, Zach gave me, I'm in the middle of planning indoor stuff. Zach gave me a great title for the indoor show, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this. So, but I guess you.
Well, just make sure you send his gold medal to 167.
We got to get one first.
Well, listen,
this is not an automatic thing.
Hey, that's my payback for when I called you with all my drill questions.
Yeah,
Cedric, I remember vividly sitting on your front porch one year, and we were talking about, trying to fix Minuano into, every other thing that we could come up with that day.
And Strawberry Soup, you brought me the score.
I brought you the score, and we sat there forever and went, do we really think this is going to work? And you sent me a message back a week later that went, dude, here it is. Here's how it goes. And you just, that's creative process. And I'm very blessed to have people like you guys to bounce things off of because, Cedric talked about it. That phone call I made to him earlier this year is bad. It was bad, and I had to talk to somebody that was not in the circle that I'm in down here because it would have just stayed there. And everything worked out.
Yeah, it really did. Like, it's like what that's been all season. I've heard, man, this show is so cool. It's so cool, and I'm just like, I was like, man, it's a '90s show. It's such a '90s show.
It is.
It is such a '90s show.
See, that's what's cool about it, though, is that like we always talk about like trends repeat itself, right? We have a cycle sometimes, and sometimes it's just refreshing to see. Oh, spin, got it.
Yeah,
and then you just you just those are always good. Sometimes I have just refreshing. Palate cleanser kind of stuff.
You don't need a 5-page book on how to read the visual of the show.
Man, I swear,
exactly.
Or a degree, or it's just. It's just, and listen, I'm all about esoteric. I've done a couple of them myself, but at the end of the day, it's just like for me, for effect, it's old school. Does the music match the visual, vice versa, and think of every way you can. And my win for the year was when at the first show, the music effect judge was like, "Oh, you're playing spinning wheel." I was like, "Yes, you got it. Thank you." Because I'm just like, nope. Like, everybody's heard the song but didn't know what it was. So that's it. It's when you think about designing a show, and all of us have designed shows and stuff like that. When you get a panel or a judge that just gets it, you're just like, okay, that made it work.
Yep.
You know how many times Zach and I are driving back from a contest listening to tapes and us smacking each other? We're like, yeah, look at it. Like, the whole time. Like, man, it feels good, man.
That was you right there.
Yep.
Or a person in the audience finds your kids or finds you, and it's like, oh my gosh, they were so cool, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, this is why we do it, because those 6 judges in the box they're paid to do a job. They're going to do the job to the best of their ability, and it might not come out in your favor, and it sucks, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, when you see something that's the fruits of your labor that you have had in your brain and then you put it on paper, like for drill, it's one thing to watch it on the computer, but then when you see the kids do it, and then you see it when they're in uniform with everything else, you're like, I just did that. Like, there were a few times this season I was like, I did not know what I was doing at all. And David trusted me to write that. The kids trusted me. And that's what I told him at the end of the season. We kind of had a bummer last contest. And I just thanked him. I was like, y'all don't know. You let me come here every day and just have you try all these things, and you just do it. And you don't complain. You don't sulk about it. This year's group was probably, with overall mentality, this was probably one of the most teachable groups we've had. And I think they just enjoyed doing it.
I mean, we changed the whole ending.
Twice.
And
it's like, all right, we're gonna try this. Okay. I mean, just
Zach, the cool part of it is you got that as a first-year writer. Wait till it's a 10th year, and you get that same feeling, and you remind yourself year to year why you do it, and it is the kids' faces. That first rehearsal when they get it, when it locks, and seeing that joy in their face, and watching the staff all go, yes, there it is. That first light bulb moment, and it's the coolest thing every year.
When they set the first set of the show, and you're like, oh, there's actual people in this, and then when you get to the end and they finally set the last set, and you're like, we just did this whole thing. Or when I hit send on that email with the last set of drill on it, and I was like,
feeling the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's like
I just lost 300 pounds.
Literally, there are multiple levels to those feelings, man.
I'll tell you this as a funny thing. So I'm so old school about stuff. I write everything on yellow notepads. So I mean, drill. Here's the sets, here's the measures, here's the concept. I mean, I do my storyboard still on notepads, so I can go back at the end of the year and flip through my notepads and see my creative process. But at the very bottom of the last page of a show, it says completed and it says the date. And I do that for myself because that's that moment of, yes, it's done. And then the panic starts because now it's out of my hands. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to judge 3 of my own shows this year, which scared the life out of me. I was in the.
Oh yeah, I did. Who did that? Oh, I did that. Oh.
It's like, dang it.
I was in the press for 3 of my own shows, and I didn't recognize one of them. And I had to tell them that on tape. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, guys, because I didn't write that.
Out there digging into it, like, this is trash.
The good thing is, they're good people, and I've got to know them very well. So they tell me this, like, whatever you say, we'll understand it. Comment 1 is, I don't recognize this.
Mm-hmm.
And,
boy, that's when that director hears that and he pauses the tape and just stares at the kids.
Oh no, no! That show had a critique right after the performance.
Oh, okay, even
I had to go down after making my tape and give it a score and tell them face to face. And yeah, and
That's even better.
marching band contest, I ain't got a filter.
Right.
So I went down and I said, guys, I love you, I really do, but I don't know what just happened.
So this ain't it.
That was a different experience this year.
All right.
But yeah,
We've got
you'll.
I've got. Oh, go ahead, Sid.
I was just gonna say that feeling you have, like I said, like he said, there was a very different feeling from that first year of indoor with you guys to that Boston Strong year.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Boston Strong year felt real. Like, dang, we did that.
Yeah,
like that was us.
Yeah.
Like, so, right. And you'll find yourself getting better. Like, you'll just be like, dang, I did that. That was me.
Oh, 5 years from now,
How did I do that?
Yeah, 5 years. You're gonna look back at that first show and go, "That's what I did."
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it'll suck. You'll look. Me and Will look back. We'll listen to the first show we ever wrote together. That thing was awful. Awful.
It was one of the hardest freaking things I'd ever seen in my life, too, because Will just said, "You're going to play this because I'm going to make you."
Yeah.
Awful. Wow. And, like, we thought we was just doing something.
God, no.
Like, dude, this is fire.
Right, yeah.
We look back at that thing 10 years later and it was like, oh no.
Damn.
That's a pile.
He said,
That's what that is.
I don't know who did this.
Wait a minute.
That's not my. That's not my computer. That's not. I deleted that.
There's another grade out there somewhere. I know.
No, I go back and listen to it every now and then.
You got to
remind myself. It's like, man, you got
to.
Here's a slice of humble pie for you to digest.
I do it myself a lot, man.
That's what Sid did. He came back from Dayton after all that stuff. He went in and hit play on that. He's like, all right, I'm good now.
No, I'm gonna tell you what I did when I came back from Dayton. Holy shit! How am I gonna do this next year?
Yeah.
Oh god. Because I was telling all my rookie parents, it's like, this is not the norm. This is not the expectation. Like,
give them a video of Driven and.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we've come a long way. 16 years.
How you top like 4 expectations in 1 year?
See, that was the thing. The goal was just to make finals.
The goal was just to get through
just
finals
wanted to make the finals.
WGI. But okay, we're gonna get through, go undefeated, win, and beat the score,
And that was
school record twice. And it was like, okay,
I'm like, what is going on here?
All right, you got to score 101 next year. That's there. It is.
Yep.
Oliver, do you know what our perk scored at the last marching band contest this year?
You were in the 90s, weren't you?
187,
yeah.
93.5.
93.5.
That is stupid. Is what that is. That's insane.
But with 2 state finalists at that contest, beat them both by 12. I'm like,
They didn't want to.
And people were mad, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared.
But
Don't be mad because I tinked better than you tinked. So I'm just saying.
there's a lot of tink.
And we boom crash.
Tink over here.
Oh,
My
man.
team is a little different because I'm older than y'all. But anyways,
Yeah.
Say, wait a minute, what kind of tink?
Oh,
Flesh. I don't know.
man.
Yeah, flush. No, it was. No, they've had a heck of a 6 months or 7 months. It's been crazy. It's been nuts.
And now you get to start it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you got one more week. Well, after this
One more.
date, when this airs,
yeah.
it'll be over. But
Yeah.
And then you're
I have a
into-
week off, and then auditions start 13th. Run it back.
listen, I loved doing indoor when I did, but man,
It's a stretch.
Whew.
It's a long haul.
that season's the longest. It's
But that's why I only practice 2 nights a week.
yeah, that
Just
grind,
because
dude. Till
If
March,
we can't get it done in mid-April.
April, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
If we can't get it done in 2 nights a week, we don't need to get it done. So, and I got some good kids that learn music pretty quick, so it helps out a whole lot.
Especially sitting in those gyms, set and drill.
Mm.
Oh,
It was fun because I was like, Zach said, I was seeing my product come to life. But they were long days, man.
how did we ever get anything done?
We had enough of we didn't like to suck to make sure we got stuff done. But we also knew that, like, if we weren't having fun and the kids weren't having fun, we were wasting our time.
Well, I just know we could never sit beside each other.
No, we had to
Like,
be separated.
We all
One's
one had to
gotta
be
be
on
on the
top
floor,
and,
one's gotta
and
be
one
on
was
top.
on the floor. Yeah,
Mhm.
can't
No,
do it.
we learned that real quick. Like the end of rehearsal runs when we were all in the bleachers together. I don't think we ever actually watched around.
I don't think we never did. No, I don't think it happened.
I don't think. So, Zach, what was your follow up? I know you had a question. Sorry.
My final question for you, John, is what is your favorite drum corps show of all time?
Oh,
And you can't say Cavaliers '92. That's a cop
no,
out.
no, but you're gonna think I'm nuts. God, I got to go by decade.
That's fine.
Santa Clara, Babylon. My God,
Listen,
I can't help it.
The horns are still ringing in that stadium right now.
it's phenomenal, man.
God, that show live was just unreal.
You hear
Unreal.
those pops?
And that first time you just heard click and it was like,
Oh,
and what came out after that was just insane. I really liked the Madison Scouts pirate show.
Oh yeah, Pirates of Penzance.
87. I think Pirates of Lake Mendoza was
Lake Mendoza. That's what it was. Yeah,
that show
I
was
didn't see-
very, very underrated. I always do. And I also think, because, again, this is the Midwest coming out in me. The Colts in 92 were great. Brain Dead Weasel. You never would have thought John Tesh out of anything would have made sense. And it worked. And it was just something. And I got to hear that actually as it was going, because one of my buddies made the contra line at Cavies and had to come out because he was having issues with his feet. Well, he got better. There was no spot for him, and Colts needed a contra. And he got in. And then the next year was, that was that magical Colts run. Oh gosh. There's so many shows, and it's all for different reasons. Like I still, Cadets '90 was something, and just that's one of those things that kind of repeats for me. There are shows that other people absolutely adore that I don't, and there's some.
Give us one.
Give us a little hot take.
The one that comes back to my mind every year, and I hate dogging on the Blue Devils the way I do, but you can't deny the process, and you can't deny how they do things. But the Dance Derby of the Century show,
No, that shows no. I don't know if Blue Devil alums like that show.
I just said
I've never heard anybody that likes that show
at all.
Did y'all lose
At all.
There's a reason why they finished like third for fourth or something that year.
Some of the Blue Star shows I've really, really dug that a lot of people don't. Like even this year, I love this year's show. I did. I really loved it, and a lot of people that are around me absolutely hated it. And I'm like,
I appreciated it more live. Yeah. I will say that.
I dug that show because just the layers of it, and a lot of people just looked at it and went, "This, I don't get that."
Well, they probably did what we kind of did. Well, I'll say I kind of did at first. Is like they heard the title and probably had a preconceived notion of what that show should have sounded like, and it probably didn't sound like what they thought it should have sounded like,
or look like.
But I mean, I span so many decades. I don't have a show that I just go back to and say this is it. I don't, and it's kind of weird. Even the season I marched, I think I was so into it that I couldn't enjoy it at first. And it took years to really get to. I mean, again, playing Gavort and Fanfare was insane. I didn't know Peter Lou Overture at all. Like, we didn't play that music. We were lucky to play grade 3.5. So to get to play that stuff and to be involved in that was phenomenal. But I was so ingrained in the show that I really didn't get to enjoy it much until years later.
It's one of those forests and trees kind of thing, right?
It really kind of was, and
you can't see it.
And that's a lot of, and again, that's why a lot of people didn't get Star 93. The blueprint of where we ended up going. Nobody in 93 understood where they went with that.
They were ahead of their time,
and they were way ahead of their time. And again, this kind of makes it kind of funny. One of the underrated shows I still love to this day was both City of Angels show from the Scouts. I wanted to watch that Broadway show after hearing that, and I got to hear Phantom Regiment live. So, I mean, just a lot of the Phantom shows. Harmonic Journey for me is still to this day. I mean, it was beautiful to hear it redone. But hear it the first time was, and it's kind of funny. I mean, I have Canon in D as a warm up, and we're actually playing it for my Christmas concert as our onstage warm up. And it comes back. It comes back to me. My love of classical music came from drum corps.
A lot of people don't give drum corps enough credit for that, introducing people to different styles of music. I know. Madison Scouts put me on Latin jazz and like Malagueña and Malaga and all of that stuff. And even with the Pirates of Lake Mendoza, the Power Pizzazz and all that jazz, that show was really cool. The song Remembrance that they played, I was just like, this is all dope stuff. And then Blue Coats, Crossman with Pat Metheny. Like drum corps has turned me on to a lot of a music that I probably wouldn't have just listened to on my own.
It's funny that you said Remembrance because I was on a search for that jazz band chart for years and years and years, and now I've got it.
Oh,
awesome. I got it from England, and I mean it was shipped. It was. I mean, I still have the package with all the stamps and postage on it because I was like, this song is so. I heard it so many times, and that's one of my greater things that I've got with me now.
If I ever have like a Hoss, look like we're gonna have a Hoss marching band group, like that's coming on the field. Like,
yep,
it's coming.
Because I know how I want.
Kids don't realize what I have in my back pocket. I'm just waiting for them to be able to play.
Dude, I know exactly how I'm going to write it too. I've arranged in my head. I just need a group that can do it.
Yeah,
I do. And Sez heard me go kind of off the deep end a little bit with this, but I mean, I have to thank the Bluecoats for the last 5 years. Pushing me into that version of where we go now. I didn't like it at first, not gonna lie. Hip was cool. Wasn't hip on the studio show, but that's just me. I told Cedric
44.
I couldn't do it. And I was okay. Zach, come back. Zach, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did not like this year's show until the last 4 weeks, when it all finally came together, and I
remember you telling me that. I remember you telling me that
on early season. I hated that show with a passion. And once it all finally connected together, I finally got into it. But early on, yeah, I wasn't sure they could get through.
I think Bluecoats are not afraid to be dirty early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just like, it is a 9-week season. We're going to take our 9 weeks, and we're not going to be in any hurry, because that's 2 years in a row. Raiders come out and everybody's like, "Well, here we are."
Yep.
Bluecoats, I don't know, and then
But you got to wait till mid-July.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're gonna make you wait. I mean, they make you wait till mid-June to get the show.
Well, it's like, okay, we're going to announce our show when the movie theater announces it.
Right. Well, not anymore. They do their own show now.
Yeah.
On Flow Marching.
They sure do.
Exclusive rights and all that kind of. That's great.
But yeah. Well, Oliver, you'll be back. You don't have an option. So,
friends, like I said, it's been forever since I've seen you guys just live. I mean, Will had to go to another coast, you jerk. But I mean, Chris, this first time I've seen you in a few years.
Yeah, it's been a year or so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying it's been a while. I think last time I saw you, we were at a contest. I think we were at East. You were judging.
I was judging at East. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I saw him. So.
Yeah, we already got him booked for 2025, but Terry Sanders is coming up.
Oh boy! Oh, game on, my friend.
We're gonna
2025.
Down.
Terry was like, "That late? I was like,
Bowling
I don't
Green
know.
is
I'm
closed
just asking.
that weekend.
All right,
So,
that weekend, and I need to not be an individual judge.
There you go.
Listen. It's so I don't.
Because I'll be picking his brain more than I'll be judging shows.
See,
Listen, my favorite thing, I still use this analogy today. I'll never forget, we were sitting in indoor practice. Yes, Seth's doing it right now. He's talking about loading up the dice. Mm-hmm. He's like, right now, you guys aren't loading it. Right now, you're throwing a 1 or you can throw an 8. I need you to load that dice every time it's an 8. And me and Seth sat there, and our heads exploded. Yeah. We're like, this man just literally just pulled this out of his Rolodex of analogies and just brought it out. We're just like, my God, man.
There's your indoor
have that knowledge. Right.
No, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what we're doing.
Okay.
When we're done. but yeah, we'll for sure have you on and stuff later on.
I would.
We could have talked about a bunch of stuff.
This could have been a 7-hour episode.
Are you kidding? Yeah.
And that's on the lower end of time.
Well, that's the Patreon special.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
YouTube gonna be like.
So speaking of which, you can listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, watch us, hang out with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and then you can also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
I just say
an iPhone, so I can't do that.
That process
was worth
ridiculous. It was worth it.
But you did it.
Listen, you know what was holding us up? I'm not kidding you. It took forever. The pixels on our image was too much. I had to lower the pixel rate.
What?
To get it to it was the dude. I was like I had to call and be like, I don't know what I need to do to make this work. I'm like, I don't know how other image I can make. I have PNG, I have JPEG, I have SVG. What do I need to do? And then they finally showed me how to do it, and finally got it pushed through. But my God,
wow,
We're on Apple
Picture
Podcasts
has-
now,
Imagine.
Picture has too much power.
right?
How are the Shaco?
Power Shaco, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a lot of we got some stuff coming up. I'm fairly sure. I just got to make sure that it'll work. But I'm fairly sure we're going to probably try and do a watch party for BOA files. So be looking out for details on that. Come hang out. Oliver, if you want to pop in, I don't know if you want to do the whole, how many hours it is? 15 bands?
Actually, I think we might be watching it at school. So
Oh,
if I pop in, you're going to have teenagers behind me going, "Who's?"
hey.
Well, what you can do,
I'm
you
all about
can
it.
have that playing, and then all of them can have their phones out and watching our live stream watch party as we're doing it.
Yeah.
They would.
And then type it in the chat.
Word.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'll be down for that. So
Yeah, if we're doing a watch party of our own, yeah, I'd happily jump in.
all right. Cool. So yeah, so this been, I don't know what episode numbers this is going to be because there might be, I don't know, but it's been a good episode. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
Dang it. For Will, Zach, and Chris, and our special guest Jon Oliver, my name is Cedric. Make sure you guys cheer on your favorite BOA groups. Let us know in the comments below who you think's going to take it home, or are you a drill writer or a composer or an arranger? How'd you get started? Like, talk to us in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story as well. So, from all of us to all of you, have a good week. We are Dut
Dud
Out.
out.
out.